Hello guys, and welcome to my part 2 of my residency process. I know this video should have been out a few months ago, but I've been in Paraguay for 2 months and I've just been having a blast. I've been meeting people, I've been exploring, and I just didn't get around to making a video. But today it's pretty rainy, I'm stuck indoors. I figured why not film it today and do my best to get all the information out. It's a little bit complicated process, so if I lose you along the way, feel free to message me, Instagram or YouTube, and I'll be glad to clarify some things up because I know I'll probably get lost in my words and in my process. Hopefully I don't fumble it, but I'll do my best. The first thing I did when I got to Paraguay, I was gone for 6 months, like I mentioned. Usually it takes about 2 or 3 months to get your residency back, but for anyone that's in my footstep, this video will help them. If you come back within 3 months of applying for your temporary resident, you might be able to skip some of these steps because I had to backtrack to get some new documents up to date. So let's get started. The very first thing I did when I arrived to Paraguay was go down to Imigraciones. That's the one where you deposit the big file at the very end of the application process on the first part. That's when you get your little yellow ticket. So you got to go back there. Once you're there, you will enter through the main doors. There's pretty much only 2 doors to go inside the building, but right in front of you, there's a computer there. There's a few different options, but pick the one that says, I actually don't remember what it says, but once you press it, it will give you letters, and this one has to have an E in it. So once you get your number out, it should say like E30 or E whatever. Just make sure there's an E at the beginning, and you'll make sure that you are in the right line to retrieve your documents. And to make sure that you're at the right office, once they call you, you enter through the main doors. There's a little chairs to your right and to your left. There's the main kind of office section where all the ladies are sitting in the back. It's the one that's across from there. So once you enter, take a right and take another right once you have your ticket, of course, and that's where the office for retrieving your documents is. So it's a pretty quick line since it's a lot quicker than actually applying for your cedula. So you may have to wait maybe 15-20 minutes and you should be out of there. You will leave the office with the pile of documents that you handed in at the very last step. So all your apostilles, birth certificates, translations, RCMP reports, and all the documents that you received during your first part of the application. And you will receive, I'm just going to hide some information here because I don't want to show my documents, but you will receive your admission temporaria card. This card is basically what gives you the right to live in the country for the first 2 years as a temporary resident. You will be able to apply for permanent after 2 years, but that will be a completely different video. Now that you've received all your documents from the first part and your new admissions card, you are ready for step 2 of the part 2 of your application. This is where you apply for your Vida Y Residencia. This is where I kind of fell into some issues with expired paperwork because your Interpol, show you the logo at the top, this document here needs to be within 3 months of being issued. So mine was over 6 months, so I had to backtrack. If you don't remember exactly how to do it, go watch my part 1 where it explains kind of the process of doing it. The only difference now is since you are now a temporary resident, they will ask you to bring a photocopy of this card. That's the only difference. Now, since you are already at Interpol, you might as well go and apply for your Policia Nacional card. This card is done in the basement of Interpol. So just ask any cop that's around where the basement is and they'll gladly guide you there. And once you arrive, it's a big room. There's a few sofas and one big table in the center. And let them know that you are there to apply for Policia Nacional. They will give you a form. At this step, you will have to find someone prior to showing up that are willing to give you their names, their address, and their cellular numbers. They have to be Paraguayan. There's different ways of going about this. You can ask your Airbnb host if they're willing to do it. You can ask some Paraguayan friends if you have some, like I did. I heard of people going to gas stations and paying them to get their information. I don't suggest that route, but it's doable. From there, once you have the names, the addresses, and the cedula numbers, that's when you can start filling out the Police National document, because there's going to be a section asking for that information. Once you start filling it out, you'll need a photocopy of your passport, and if I believe that's everything. So you need the document of that was just filled out, and you'll need your passport. You give it to the gentleman. They'll charge you like 100,000 guarani for a 2-day process, or you can ask for the fast service of 200,000 guarani for like an hour service. So an hour versus 2 days, which is a lot better in my eye. That's what I did. I was out of there within like 45 minutes. They'll take your picture. They'll take your fingerprints. They'll print out a little card. They'll laminate it, and you'll be on your way. Once that's done, you can leave Interpol with your new national police card, and you'll either have to come back in 3-4 hours to pick up your Interpol, or in 2-3 days to pick up the Interpol, depending on the route that you decide to go. I would suggest paying a little bit more. You're in and out in the same day. Go ahead, go have a coffee nearby, and just come back and leave. So that's backtracking that I had to do to get my new Interpol. Once that's done, you can go to any commissariat in Asunción or any neighboring city and ask them to give you a paper that's called Vida Y Residencia. Every commissariat sheet looks a little bit different. This one is a short one. I've seen them that have full pages of information. I don't know what they ask on those ones, but this one here was just your basic information. Down here is the name, phone number, and cedula number of the people that are willing to witness or be your witness in Paraguay. Once you fill this out, you have your Interpol updated, so that's up to date. You have a photocopy of your passport that's been notarized. You will need one more thing, and that is either an electric bill or an internet bill of the address that you're going to be putting on to your application form. That can be done through your Airbnb host. You can maybe ask them if they got an electricity bill, and you can put your electricity or Airbnb address on your document. If that doesn't work, there's other means of getting it done. I'm not an expert, so you might have to look around, or maybe send me an e-message and I can try to help you find a solution to that. But you will need a proof of residence or of address. I don't know exactly how to say it, but you will need a proof that you reside at that address, and your electric bill will work. Once that's done, you hand in the document. There's a fee to it. Once again, I paid so many fees that I keep forgetting exactly how much it was, but it's always like over about 100 guarani, so it's like what, 14 US. So they're just very small amounts. You wait 24 hours. They will come back with this document for you. Constancia de Vida Y Residencia. This one is a photocopy, so it's in black and white. The one you will receive will be in color. This is one of the most important documents that you will need to apply for your cedula. Once you receive this within the 24-hour time frame of applying, you will receive it, and now it's time to get it verified at 2 different offices. All the addresses I'm going to be naming, or the buildings I'm going to be naming, I'll put them in the description so you're able to Google map them and see where I'm talking about. But for this one, it's mostly like in the old part of Asunción. You will need to go to these buildings in order, and I'll put them in the description. You will need 2 stamps. You will need to stamp the Vida Y Residencia twice and your Interpol twice. You will need those to apply for your cedula. So once you get them back, you go to the addresses that I will put in the description. You go in, they'll give you a stamp. It's literally like a minute. You walk in, they walk out, they stamp your stuff, and you go on your way. Once you have those documents stamped, Vida Y Residencia and your Interpol, you are almost ready to do the final process of applying for the cedula, unless you're like me and this document here has also expired. So you will need to go back to Informatica, which I'll put in the description also. For 63,000 Guarani, they will print you a new one and you are good to go to apply for your cedula. Now, where you're gonna go is called Identificaciones. It's right beside Informatica, where you just got this little blue sheet from, but it's a big building. And when you walk in, there's 2 metal detectors, and you walk into like a giant room, a bunch of little cubicles, people waiting in line. It can get a little bit confusing. So the first thing you need to do is look at the ceiling. You will see A, B, and C. Head towards the B sign. Cross the entire hall, or it's not a hall, but it's a room. So cross the entire room. Reach the back wall of that room. You will see a little doorway with some stairs that go up. Go up those stairs and go to the first floor. There will be a room called Integra di Passaporte. That's what it's going to be called. You go in, they will stamp your residency or your Interpol paperwork, sorry. So the same paperwork that we worked on at the very beginning of the video that I had to backtrack, they will stamp that. There's also another fee, and I think it's like another 100,000 Guarani. You stamp it. It's a tiny little room. When I went, there was like 15, 20 people in this little tiny room, so I had to stand up kind of off to the side and wait. It took about 10 minutes to get my paperwork back, and that was it. From there, I left and went to the second floor. The second floor is where you kind of hand in your final document. They're going to take everything, all the paperwork. I'll put a list in my description of all the paperwork if I forgot them, but quickly, it's your passport, it's all your apostilles that you received from the first step of part 2. So when you went to Imigraciones, you will, in your Interpols, basically everything. I'll put them in my description, and you make a nice little file for them. They're going to take them and they're going to go through every piece of paperwork to make sure everything is in there. If something's missing, they'll let you know. You might have to backtrack. You might have to do a few different things. But if you followed my guide if you followed my guide, you shouldn't have any issues unless I wasn't clear. And I know I make videos. They're not the clearest. I just try to do my best to get the information out for you guys. But I'm sure I kind of fumble some things. So hopefully I didn't misguide you. From there, they double check everything. They'll say yes or no. If it's a yes, they will take your whole pile of document. They'll put a little piece of paper on top and they will stamp it. They will staple it. Once that's done, you got to go back all the way down to the first floor where you took the B kind of guide, where the metal detectors were, where everyone is waiting. And it looks kind of chaotic, but don't worry. All you have to do is take those pieces of paperwork, go to booth 8 or 7. There's maybe like 20 of them. Make sure you go to booth 8 or 7 and you hand them the entire file. There's no numbers, there's no nothing. You just bring your file and you give it to the lady or guy that's sitting there. They will take your documents, they will put it off to the side. There's usually like a little pile. There are other people waiting. They will call your name. Make sure you stick around close because they don't speak loud, and that area is very loud because there's a lot of people. So make sure you stay close. Once you hear your name, you go and sit down. They will take your picture. They would take digital fingerprints, and they will scan the entire document that you brought them on their computer. I think there's a small fee of like 10,000 Guarani for this step. But once everything's scanned, your fingerprints have been taken, your picture has been taken, you are done with your cedula. They will give you a little receipt. Do not lose this receipt. This receipt looks like a little grocery store receipt, but this is what allows you to recover your cedula. If you lose it, you will have to go to the police station and declare a lost cedula paper, and you will have to get a new one, and this could create a lot of headaches. So make sure you do not lose this document. Wait 2-3 months. There is a WhatsApp number on booth 8 back wall, take a picture of it, go on WhatsApp, and after 2 months, 3 months, ask them by message, don't call them, by message, is my cedula ready? And then you can send them a little picture of that paperwork, and they will say yes or no if it's ready to pick up or not. And then from there, you just go back to that building, pick up your card, and you're good to go. Now you can open up bank accounts, you can get your driver's license, you can open up a company, all the good stuff that you would want to do if you want to move to Paraguay. And that pretty much sums up the entire process of applying for your cedula. If I missed anything or you are confused in my process, please feel free to reach out. I will clarify whatever information I misguided you on, or if I kind of lost in my translation of words, I will help you with that by understanding better by replying to your message. And that's it. I hope you get your cedula quickly and by yourself if it's done right. Even if you don't speak Spanish, there's easy Google translation that does a wonderful job. I myself speak a little bit Spanish, but I did have to use my phone on some aspects, especially when I was being told that my paperwork was expired and stuff. So when I had to backtrack, I had to use my phone to communicate with them, but I got it done. Now, what's next for me in Paraguay? I've been exploring. I've been having a good time with my friends. So now I'm trying to kind of ease myself back into a routine, and I'm trying to find a place where I'd like to live. So in my next video, I can probably show you guys where I've been, what I've been doing, and kind of the process of finding land out here and finding yourself a new home. So I hope to see you guys around, and hopefully this video will help.